So welcome to the Sunday video. Happy Sunday everyone, hope you're all having a good weekend. It's actually Saturday I'm taking this video, and we are in the field that we cut last week. It's an 8 acre field. We mowed it down for what we thought might be haylage, but it's actually mostly going to be silage. Now we did make a little bit of haylage in it last night. We took the round round the ditch here, just wasn't getting enough sunshine for it to completely dry out. So we took that out of it last night. We baled it up, round bales, wrapped it, and it'll make some nice haylage. The rest of it's going to be hay. So we're going to square bale it, a part of it anyway, and we're going to round bale a part of it. So yeah, we'll have a bit of footage of that also a little bit later in the video. I just had to take the teleporter over this morning to move these bales. They were kind of, some of them were out on top of the hay, so we just had to move the bin along the side and free up the space for the balers to walk. So there's this field here. We also have a small field here as well. There's about 1.5 acres in it down the bottom, so we'll have to bale that too. And yeah, all hopefully will be done and dusted today. Don't forget, if you're not already a subscriber, hit the sub button, ring the little bell, just give you a notification every time I post a video, and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the like button now. We'll try and get 1,000 likes in this video. Don't know if I've ever got 1,000 likes before. Go ahead and try and do it. Yeah, comment down below, any questions, any comments, drop them in the comment section, and I do try to get back to everybody if I can at all. So, drone footage, have a look at it. So the voiceover is back. Yeah, we're going to keep doing the voiceover. We're getting good, getting some nice feedback on it. People say they like it. It's better than just having to listen to some music. And I tend to agree. I've seen, as I said, I've seen it done on a couple of other YouTube channels. And it does tend to make it a wee bit more interesting. And it just gives a little bit more insight into maybe what you're doing. And yeah, it also gives it gives me now a chance. I'm not just as busy. It gives me a chance now that I can kind of talk about what I'm doing and what we're doing, maybe about the machine or whatever's going on in the video. But yeah, so rowing hay is fairly self-explanatory, I suppose. David Brown is coming off a very busy week this week. It has been without a doubt the busiest tractor on the farm over the last week or 10 days. It seems to be the go-to tractor at the minute, and today is no different. It does the rowing in, and then also it's on the square baler when we're baling it all up. So yeah, busy time for it. Our hay bob that we're using is it's actually not a proper hay bob. It's one of the Mescrol hay bobs. I think they're Polish. From memory, I think they're a Polish brand or Polish make of the hay bob. Once the patent run out on hay bob a number of years back, it opened the door then for all manufacturers or other manufacturers to start making the same machine, and they did. But this is the Mescrol variant of it, and it's been a good machine for us. We've had it since 2007, as I've mentioned before. It hasn't given us any trouble. Like we make roughly around 50 acres of hay every year, and up until the last couple of years, it done all the shaking out, the turning out, as well as rowing in. So it done most of the work. Now, one of the things that stood to it was the fact that we always grease it every 15 acres to 20 acres. It just depends what we have cut down on the day. It's fully greased. So and we usually try to have it running at a slow speed and grease the gears, those grease nibbles on the top. Just grease the gears as it's running, and you can hear it. It's squishing around in there. So, and it has stood to it. There's no doubt. Like, it wouldn't have the same stuff in it that the proper hay bobs would have. But yeah, it's been a good machine. The only things that we ever had to replace on it was the spring-loaded holders for holding the gates in place. The springs just kind of wore or just got a little weak. I think one of them actually snapped off in the finish up, but we had to replace those, which is, it's just a common enough wear and tear thing. We had to get one of the hay bob real straight in there this year as well. But apart from that, it's been a very good machine. Yeah, so I suppose that's really all I can say for now. Coming up to almost at the end of the rowing end of the video. And what we'll do is we'll head over and we'll see how we get on at the baling. So back at the square baling again, the David Brown this week on the hay. Now it was a little bit harder to drive on the hay than on the straw, but again, still no problem to it. It was well fit for it. Yeah, no issues. Don't think the baler threw out a loose bale today either. Yeah, baler's working very well. It's mechanically very, very, very good. Would have baled a lot of stuff over the time we bought it. It was actually a friend of ours. It was his father's baler, and they'd done some contracting with it, so it would have done a good bit of work in its time, but it would have been well minded at the same time. Yeah, this field that we're in now is ideal for a small square baler, because it's a lovely long straight field. You have lovely long rows, and you're not having to worry about turning at headlands and yeah, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like a round baler is a bit more manoeuvrable, without a doubt, but yeah, it's always better for a square baler if you have a decent sized field. It doesn't always work out that way, but anyway. Footage is fairly good. I think the drone, I have to fly it up a little bit higher than I would like. You can see there's some wires here just below us, and they're not that high, so I have to fly up over them just at this point. But yeah, we baled 700 and it was around 740 bales today, which, as I say, was a little bit more than what we had wanted, but yeah, look, we didn't bother actually taking the round baler over at all, because by the time we got our quota, there was only going to be, we had a choice of going home for the round baler and maybe baling 10 bales, or continuing on and just baling an extra like 70 or 80 bales with the square baler. So we just kept going. These bales that we were baling now, some of them, 300 of them we sold at this point, but the rest we're going to put into we have a barn that we can put them into, and we'll sell them out over the winter. There's always somebody comes looking for some square bales during the winter time, and usually we don't have any. But this year we're just trying to stock up and have around 400 there that we can sell. You know, everybody loves to have a square bale. I said this in the last video. Everybody loves to have some square bales sitting about or lying about, but nobody likes to work at them. So usually when they're in the shed, people are happy enough to come and maybe buy 20 bales, 30 bales, and they'll pay a premium price for them because they want to have a few of them lying around. You know, like it's usually no problem to get €4, €5 a bale for them in the wintertime, especially if hay is scarce, like it will be this year. So yeah, it's nice to have a few of them there anyway. But yeah, that's really all I can say about this. We'll let this end of the video play out, and we've got a little bit of loading to do, and I'll come back and we'll do a little bit of a voiceover on the loading. Okay, on to everybody's favourite part of working with the idiot blocks, the handling of them. Now, luckily enough, the teleporter and the bale grab does take a lot of the manual labour out of this end of it now, compared to the way it used to be anyway. Like it used to be that you had a pitchfork and you had to pitch them up, and it was one of those jobs that it kind of tested you, because it was okay for the first 3 or 4 rows, because relatively, depending on your trailer, it was relatively low to the ground. You could pitch them up easily, but it's one of those jobs that then as it goes on and you start getting tired of, the height goes up and you have to keep pushing yourself to keep pitching them up. And in a lot of cases, we'd be trying to maybe put 7 rows, 8 rows on a trailer, and yeah, it wasn't simple. But yeah, the bale grab certainly takes all the work out of this end of it now. I always get mixed up. Maybe someone will know and can comment below. The sleigh, I'm nearly sure, is Cook's, and the bale grab is Brown's. Is that right? It was Brown's that made it. Whoever made both of them deserves a medal anyway, because it did drastically improve the way of handling these bales. Yeah, just a few different bits of shots that I took here just as we were loading these bales. Teleporter looks well. We have a little bit of cosmetic stuff to do to it. We said we'd do it over the summer, but we just never seem to have time. And then once you get into the winter time, you can't do without it because you're using it every day when you're feeding. But there's a few bits of painting that we'd like to do to it. Mechanically, it's never been as good. We did fix a wee bit of an oil leak, and I remember earlier in the year the engine had to be lifted out just to get it fixed. But mechanically, it's never been, well, it has been as good, but not in a long time. But we might see if we can get the diesel tank there. As you can see, it's well faded, and there's a couple of other wee bits of paint work, and I might take on and try and do them myself. I can do a little bit of painting, but once it's nothing too panels I wouldn't be great at, but likes around steps and stuff like that I could try out. But we'll see. We might get some of that done over the winter at some point if we're able to. Yeah, so we're just, you can see in the background, we're at this point we're only a little over halfway through baling the field. But yeah, things was going well, and they did go well. And that's really it, because we're running out of the time here, and on to the next part of the video. So literally just finished the last of the loading just now. We've got a large trailer here. I think there's about 280 bales in this trailer, and yeah, loaded a couple of 100 bales then on a curtain side, or 100 bales away home on the small flat trailer. There's a few bales still left in the field, but we'll get them either a little bit later on, or we'll get them first thing in the morning, just to see how it works out. But great to get all that done just in the one day. Yeah, weather stayed with us. Hay was in perfect condition, absolutely perfect, lovely smell of it. Couldn't be better. So very happy with that. It's some of the nicest hay we've made all year, some of the best weather we've had all year. So it's just it's unusual that it's come this late in September. We've never made second cut hay before, so it's kind of a new thing for us, and yeah, it's worked out well. Yeah, so that's really it. Nice to get a run on the square baler. I haven't been on using the square baler in about, I'd say it could be nearly 3 years, so yeah, it's nice to get a bit of a run on it. Yeah, Dad always does a square baling. I am usually either round baling at the same time, or I'm walking the loader here and loading maybe trailers or whatever. So yeah, I don't usually get to do the square baling, so nice to get a run on it and try getting to use the David Brown on it too. Some say that the David Brown is the most used tractor on the farm. Well, this week it is. It seems to be the go-to tractor for every job, and it's certainly earning its keep now at the minute, especially this week. So very usable tractor. Works very well. Works very well on the baler. Yeah, just it's a tractor. It's still, even though now it's 40 years old, it's still a very usable tractor. You don't need all the gadgets. It's nice to have them, but you don't need all the gadgets to do these jobs. So yeah, that's it. Going to head back to the yard now. We're going to have a little look at the slat grooving job that we got done, and I'll show you that when we get back to the yard. So we'll keep going. Okay, so we're back in the yard, and we're going to have a little look at a job we got done here in one of the cattle sheds, actually in 2 of the cattle sheds, in the 2 beefing sheds. We're going to have a look at a job we got done a little over a week ago. It is a grooving on the slat, a groovy slat. Why do we get a grooving put in the slat? Well, there's a couple of reasons for it. We've been having a few issues, and we're hoping that this will, and it should, sort it out. Yeah, noticing the main thing is that when cattle, especially when they get on in weight in the finishing process, we're noticing that they're getting it hard to get footing when getting up. The slat can be slippy, it's wet of course, so we're noticing that it's good to get up. At this stage they're maybe only a month off being slaughtered. Foot starts to go from under them, they can't get up, end up back down, end up having to go again and get up again. So when this starts to happen, then the animal, if they're not comfortable in getting up, they'll lie more than what they should. Maybe when they do want to get up and feed, they could lie on for a while. So it's slowing down the finishing process. If they're not comfortable and not getting up when they should, that's not good for the finisher. So we're hoping now that by putting a groove in the slat, that it'll allow the animal to get up on its feet, more comfortable, stand, eat, feed, do whatever it has to do. Also, we've been noticing injuries on the slats. The lesser of the injuries, we'll say, is when they go to get up, maybe their foot slips, and they catch one of their cleats, their hoofs in the slat, maybe pull it apart. They end up with a small cut in between the hoof, takes an infection, they're lame. Again, they're not going to be feeding properly, they're not going to be getting up. You're going to end up with them out on straw, antibiotics. It's going to be costing you money the whole way along the line. So again, we're hoping that by having a groove in the slat, that it'll eliminate that as well. The other thing then, a more serious kind of injury is if they slip, dislocate a shoulder or something like that, then you're in a lot of trouble then, because there's nowhere to go to get that animal slaughtered, and you end up then having to get the vet out, put it down, and you're down a huge loss. So there's a lot of different issues there, and I'm hoping that the grooving will sort it. So here is the grooving, done by Raymond Brady, which you'll see these details is all there. There'll be a link in the description below for anyone who's looking. You don't need to travel countrywide, and does an absolutely fantastic job. Lovely groove there. It's probably it's not far off half an inch deep in the slat. It's at least it looks like it's over a quarter of an inch. I haven't measured it, but it's a nice deep groove. It should mean that even when the slat is covered in dung and wet, they'll still provide an ample grip. Also in the toe area here, you'll see there's a squared finish that he leaves on it, and again that should provide ample grip. You often see sometimes cattle coming in when you're putting in the feed, especially if you have a couple of cattle that are eager to get in and get feeding. As soon as you start discharging the feed from the feeder, you could have cattle that are pushing and bullying and trying to get in. one can go down, some of the others could trample them in injury again. So it's hoping that it will cure all those kind of incidents and issues all along the way. But yeah, hell of a finish, very professional. Come in with a few machines, they get it all done. The 2 sheds here were done in a day, and yeah, very happy. Super service. So if you're looking at done, give them a shout. Description is the link is in the description to a phone number, website, email, all them kind of things. Get in touch with them. He'll give you a price and get you sorted out. So yeah, we'll be doing more updates on this, let's say when we get cattle in and we see how it's working. But I've been talking to people who have had it done, very happy with it, say it works very well, and we're expecting the same kind of results here too. So again, when we have cattle in, we'll do an update a bit later, in a couple of months' time, once we have the cattle in, and we'll go through it all, and all the details will be there. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Just a bit of a mix match of different stuff that was going on over the last couple of days. And a look at the slats here, of course, the job we got done on that. Yeah, so until later in the week, hope you all have a good weekend, and we'll see you probably on Tuesday for the next video. Yeah, leave a like down below, leave a comment down below, hit the sub button. We'll see you then. Take care.